it's difficult. But because reconciliation then assumes equality. So if we come to each other with that, it ain't no reconciliation. One has got to get under the other one. And of course, it's the superiority. It's got to become equal with the inferior person. Somehow, because it was Christian, this is significant. And I'm the first Christian person that he'd ever met that understood the basic tendency, you might say, of theology, of the Bible, to know what it's about. Know basic, and I gave a little of that testimony this morning. So I know what's in the Bible because this old theologian taught me how to do that and how to extract it. And this recorder went off in my head. And so I sort of knew something about the Bible. Friendship and reconciliation must see value, human dignity, imagery within that person they're going to be reconciled with. They got to see something they value. That's what makes deep friendship. They got to almost need each other. And that's almost the way it happened with H and myself. And that makes you equal. That makes you equal. H thought I understood the Bible and all of that. And H has one of the sharpest organizing thought mind that you ever want to meet. And so we met in our deep respect. You see something. What makes a friend? Think of this. What makes a friend is that consciously, unconsciously, you find something in that person that you would like to have some way involved in your life. And so we became friends. That happened to two white pastors in Mississippi. That was unusual. And that was a God working. And so he wanted to help me. I began to tell him about the condition, black folks killing each other in the community, kids dropping out of school, young girls having babies, 12 and 13, all of this, we were talking about it. And I was saying that we want to do something about that. And so we became friends. He wanted to help me. And he did like any good pastor would do. He went back to his congregation and began to talk about it. And the people heard him talk about it. And they heard, in order for us to be Christian, we got to go with those colored people. Probably was the N-word across the track. And they rejected him. And he couldn't take that rejection. And he committed suicide. My pastor in another city, Presbyterian pastor, about the same place, about the same time, he also committed suicide. I began to see what racism had done to all of us, to black and white. Otherwise, I would have been patronizing or hating those white folks for being so mean and terrible. And these black folks who, for their emotion and staying in slavery and thinking that was religion. For the first time, I saw what had happened to both of us. That we had taken this wonderful gospel, this love of God, that's supposed to burn through racial culture and bury it, and to reconcile Jews and Gentiles together into one body. And so the world would know we was Christian by being one. We had taken that and we had neatly put it into our culture as our culture exists. And we had a form of godliness that denied the power of God. I think I was able to see that early on. And I began to say that I wanted a gospel that was stronger than my race, stronger than my economic interests. I wanted to preach a gospel that could reconcile blacks and whites and Jews and Gentiles together. I think that was and I think that you got to develop at some point in your life a sense of calling and then organizing that calling into a vision, and then God has got to give you the passion to deal with the issue. I think that's so important. So that's what happened to me. Now, I could not have expressed it like I'm expressing it now.
When it happened, you didn't know what was happening.
Right. Yeah. I couldn't express it.
And H, you came in a lot later, I think, than some of the things, the voter registration, the jailings, the beatings.
We came in right after the Civil Rights Movement. Mississippi was the last one to kind of enter into the Civil Rights Movement. It was the last bastion. So John was beaten in 70. I didn't show up until 72. And the family was just healing from the trauma of all of that.
And I want to, because I'm just terrified we're going to run out of time, but I want to ask you both about this concept of suffering. As I reread your book, I started thinking through all of the very difficult things that happened to you because of your faithfulness and your courage, and not just things to you, but to your family. In fact, this is, again, a quote from the book. We rode in fear, we registered in fear, and we voted in fear. Those black voting lists were carved out in fear. Because of my work for civil rights, the hurricane blew hard against my family. Strange cars outside the house at night, threatening phone calls in the wee hours of the morning. My wife and children lived in fear and anxiety for me and for themselves. And there's a point in the book, and I hope Let Justice Roll Down will be a book that you get, but after they've been through this terrible ordeal, jailed, beaten, then through the courts and been denied justice, where it appears to the reader, to me it appeared, that he was just so beaten down that he got sick. He took to his bed and he had to recuperate. So I want you to speak to us about suffering and the redemptive power of suffering, and I think it's the most powerful message of your book.
Yeah. What we call heroes is conviction and skills and opportunity. That's what makes heroes. So a hero is a person who can do what he ought to do and what he can do, and he's able to pull that off in a time of crisis. That's a hero. I think it's a place in calling. It's a place in calling, and you find yourself at that place, and your calling give you the commitment to endure the pain and understand your mission. And I think that's what happened to me. That's what happened to others. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is to do one's conviction in the face of fear because of the calling, and you happen to be there. My hero right now, I'm basing in, is that pilot that landed the airplane on the
Hudson River. Yeah.
I think he will always be one of my heroes. When he landed the plane and came out and I saw him on the TV, I looked at him and I said, he could do that. Then I heard what he said. He said the right crew was on this plane and they did what it was trained to do in the time they need to do it. That's a hero. So I think that, so you do your conviction, and that's the lack in our society. We lack conviction. We lack a sense of calling. We lack a sense of mission. Every leader that amounts to anything in society has a sense of calling, that they will almost born for that day, and that day having to come by. And they was doing. That's why it's so. And the conviction people got now is a conviction of their own worth their own self, and they're self-destroying. The bad people are the good people today. The better you can get, the more popular you can get in our society, because people is self-addicted or they're addicted to things. And I said, so suffering, so suffering, and the suffering for me is getting worse. And now the idea is that Jesus is to give you joy in suffering. So, you know, I think that we take suffering and we just sort of bathe in it. Bathe in it. Jesus says, take my yoke upon you and learn of him. And so we are here to be pain bearers. We are here to be redemptive. We're here to receive suffering. You're a good doctor because you don't get all upset when somebody comes in. You see that pain, but you're able to consolidate and do your work within that pain. That's what a responsive crew is. That's what a doctor's for. They're doing what it is they can do, and they bear that pain of others, but it don't overpower them in order to do it. My pain now is too. My pain is what's happening to our community. The family is being destroyed. It's not enough basic family. 84% of the children are being raised without a father in the home. Almost 72% is born without a father. And divorce, I think, it's amazing. It's so high. It's near 60% in both communities. So that burdened me, and right has become what I want it to be. I get God to help me. Right has become what I said it was. Wrong has become what you don't want me to do in our society. And so we've lost a sense of what is right and what is wrong. And then, of course, that's in the black community, that's in the urban community. The rural white community is suffering just as bad. They used to have the wonderful Pentecostal church, but it took on prosperity. They used to have the Ku Klux Klan, but we got more guns than them. They can't come into our community. No Ku Klux Klan. They were talking about could they put a Ku Klux Klan car tag on in Mississippi. I said, put it on. Put it on. Put it on. We'll know them. What? So we'll know them. We outgunned the policemen in our neighborhood.
I think I'm letting you get away from me a little bit.
This is what is happening. My burden now, because whenever I speak to poor white people, rural white people, they respond to me. They don't have many people to love them. We done set middle class as a status. And all they have is their trailer and Jerry Springer and methane. This is white folk. Yep. And we're letting that go. Nobody like poor white folk. No, when I say that, I'm talking about majority. That's okay. Sure.
We understand.
51%. 51%.
Not you or me, but.
No, that's 51. Not me and you.
Yeah.
No. But this is, you know, and here's what calls bad revolution. When a society culturalizes itself in a superior position, think that we are all right as a people, and then somebody come along and tell them the truth about themselves.
Ouch.
You got revolution. Malcolm X come along and tell the truth. Stokely Carmichael come along and tell the truth. Martin Luther King come along and tell the truth. If you get people, and we've had white folks that brought about revolution. Abraham Lincoln told the truth. People told the truth. We talking about William Winter learns the truth.